On today's episode of MotoCheez.
The following movie is rated
I.
What are you doing? I don't think you're healthy, buddy. Not at all. I think something wrong with you, buddy. Yeah, he's, guess I'll take him for a walk and let nature take its course. Run free! Fly away! Looks like we're gonna be drilling the jet out. One more size up. Oh, jeez. I contacted the company that sells these carburetors, and I asked them if they could explain what these adjustment screws are. They replied, one's for oil injection and one's for mixture. Oil injection. So where would the oil injection port be plugged into then? There? Because that's Venturi vacuum. I've already determined that. The funny thing is, this bowl does not have any... Well, yeah, there is a hole over here. Oh, well, that goes to the accelerator pump. The pump is underneath. There may be something in there, but I doubt it. It's either that or it's all drawn off of where this jet comes from. We will go the next size up, which was... This one's taped. I'm going to take that one too. But this one... That's the next size. Definitely next size. So I'm going from a 58 to a 52. It's not too big, but if it is, I got more jets. I have more jets. Well, it did feel like it didn't do anything, but it did. That's a pretty big hole for a jet. Look, I cleaned off an area. You proud of me? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gotta start moving stuff out into the container and my sheds. I hate putting anything in a shed because the mice, as you saw, they even get in my garage. But this is an old house. They'll find a way.
I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
That's definitely an air. That I took off. I don't know what that was. What was that? I guess we're gonna have to do some more exploring. If I had another carburetor, maybe. I don't know these carburetors. I wish I did know these carburetors. Is this an adjustment? No, it's tight.
That's what she said.
You better get a better screwdriver. I don't want to wreck it. Maybe that's a jet. Like, it would make sense if this is like the primary jet. It is coming off of that shutoff. Huh, look at that. It is. Oh, what the heck? Where am I going to find that? That's definitely the primary, and I have to go up on that. Do I dare try drilling a hole? That thing, that's a small, tiny, tiny little hole, and it comes out up here. What to do, guys? There's no numbers on this. You see the little air hole at the top, and that little hole at the bottom.
Well,
I mean, I could try opening that little hole on the bottom. Problem is, if I go too big, I'm done. Unless I solder it and then start over. Let me see if I have something even that small. Wow. That's a number 60. I used to have smaller ones than this. Oh yeah, that's way, way bigger than that hole. Oh my. That's not going to work. Put my jets back here. I don't have anything. Even close. And these are off a Weber carburetor. And as you can see, this tube goes all the way down to siphon off of where the bowl level is behind the main jet. And then it has to siphon up through these holes. So this taper here has to be sealed. That's crazy. Not looking good there, Cheezo. What can I do? I mean, technically, if I go too big, it can be adjusted by that mixture screw. But then it's going to be so dramatic. That's smaller than anything I have here. Since that's a copy of this carburetor, this must have the same jet in it, or close. Oh man, that's tight. Oh, would you look at that? What the heck? That's weird. That one definitely goes deeper. Kinda close. But if I match up where it has to seat, the one out of the original carburetor is longer, which isn't a problem, I guess. As long as it draws up that tube and that tube doesn't hit the bottom, right? Let's screw this down in there. I took this little guide tube, whatever that is, off. No, I don't feel like it's hitting the seat. It feels like it's hitting the bottom. Oh yeah, it's all shiny. Hitting the bottom. Well, there's a little jet up on top. And there's a little jet here. So if I cut this off, say at this length, right about where that scratch is, then it's going to have to use this top as a siphon, right? That might work. So yeah, apparently this is where your primary jet is on a stock carburetor, because that aftermarket carburetor is a pretty good duplicate, but it's not perfect. And it does have the same drain that you can get to your main jet. It's pretty close. So that means this is the mixture, which is that. But that, I don't know what it is. They said for oil injection. How come it's adjustable? Like, why isn't it just blocked off? That one's plugged off. But as you can see, there's the little tube that would adjust the mixture. I did take that little, whatever the insulator thing was on there, off. This did bottom out, and that is part of the jet, and they look like they're the same size when I look with that little magnifying thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this one off here. That hole up here is way bigger, but I'm going to hopefully rely on that to tune me back in. If not, I still have this one. And then I could maybe crimp that closed, or, you know, it is brass. I might be able to squeeze it around and then put another little hole in it. We'll see if this works first. Don't get ahead of ourselves there, Cheezy. So I cut it down. The hole is quite a bit bigger now. That's the difference. Because it seats at that taper, when this is put down in there, this has to seal off, because the tip of this is in the bowl with the fuel, and it has to draw it up through and be metered by one of these holes. Now it's got a pretty big hole, like way bigger, as you can see in the video. After it was drawn up On this one it was sucked through here. On this one it's through here. This looks more like a standard primary jet, but normally there's like emulsifying tubes at the end. I've never seen anything with that long of a draw. Thought I turned my video on when I was cutting this off with my little rotary wheel. Hopefully this is gonna work. I think I might have to put a tensioner on the bottom like a few of you guys mentioned. That might actually work out pretty good. This thing was way out. So it's a half, 1, 4.5, 10, like 10.5. If it don't work, I don't know. That's kind of worthless too. This I wanted to save for future use. Gotta have tools with me. Oh, my cheat sheet for the air mixture. Let's see what it does. That's right. Gotta pump it up till the fuel bowl's full again. Wow, it almost seems rich. Which I guess it would, right? We'll find out in a second, won't we? Holy cow, it's rich. That's real rich. But I think we can fix that. I just kept screwing that down in. So my cheat sheet should be idle at 13.6 to 14.7. I'm okay with a little higher. Well, that's rich. That's a lot rich. But it's probably because I'm stepping on the accelerator pump too. Well, what I didn't figure too is if I open up the primary, that's adding to everything. 13, as it warms up. Can't believe it worked, kinda. Now it's definitely too much on a primary. Not for idle, but for part throttle. If I could roll it maybe and close that hole down small at the very tip, the one that I cut off, probably worth a shot. I still don't know what the hell this does. Maybe it's a fine? I don't know. I gotta narrow that down. Think, Cheezy, think. You know what I'm talking about? Like if you roll this, you can make that hole smaller. Tapping and rolling this. It is brass. Think it'll narrow this end down? Yeah, it already is a little. I do need something for reference though, because then I'll roll this all the way around, get that hole narrowed down, try it again. Now this is the smallest drill bit I have, which is a number 60, so if I can maybe get it down to that size, it's gonna have to be smaller than that too. To start though. I know someone's saying, oh, you could fill it with lead, which is true, but I don't have the drill bit. That's small. It is working, just slow. You can definitely feel that tube is tapering. Barely fitting in there. Well, that drill bit no longer fits in there, so look at that. Tapered the end down slightly. Did that get a crack in it? Is it ingenious or is it stupid? It's one or the other. I guess it's not stupid if it works, right? Let's try it. Let's see what we got. Still very rich on a low. Yeah. But better. So I gotta keep going. A little more. Looks like there is a little tiny crack starting. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to go any smaller than that. I mean, it's really rich at the very, just when you barely touch a throttle, but if I try to take it for a test drive, yeah, I'll take it for a test drive. That covered a lot. Wow. Woo! Main jet's looking okay. It still makes me nervous as hell. You can feel it pull too. I wonder if that's like the back pressure of my exhaust. I bet you it is. It doesn't do it when it's down that low. It's still very rich. Runs a lot better hard throttle being that rich than it did being lean, because it was very touchy. Not full throttle. I'm scared, boys. I don't know how these people get like $30,000, $20,000 motors and they put them in their car and they just boost the shit out of it, right? That's nuts. So it looks like I'm a tad on the rich side for just cruising. Might be a little fat, part throttle, because that don't look too bad. My boost looks like it's, I really can't tell yet because I'm not totally into it. Oh, didn't do that before. That's first. Should I try to make it to the gas station? Sure, it's running alright. If anything, it's on the rich side. Put some super unleaded in. I actually feel a little better that it's on the rich side. Of course, if you're too rich, you can wash the rings out. But we're getting there, we're pretty close. Wow. That's like barely touching the throttle. Temperatures are staying good. Oh, it's raining. I just got that little backfire. Wasn't near it before. A lot of hills around here. That's where it's going to be pushing it the most, I'm sure. So yeah, I think I'm definitely going to have to put that muffler on, because I'm pretty sure that's what that whooshing noise is. Definitely starts a lot better. Definitely better hard throttle. I think it's still just a little too rich. But you see how it leans out? Because it draws so much vacuum, I think. I can feel that top end just wants to rip. The RPMs just want to keep climbing, but I don't want to over rev this thing. And I think that whooshing, I think it's the exhaust. It's too narrow. The little pipe is that big. Not too bad, just rich. My little cheat sheet. Don't be hating. I still haven't done an actual wide open throttle, but pretty close. I just don't like that noise. I may never go wide open throttle. Ever.
A few moments later.
Well, would you look at that? I know. What? That's all your stuff, Minnie. Look at all the stuff. This is for yours. That was yours for the front. Well, that's for the Jeep, but that rolling thing, the mini bike thing, that's all your stuff. And that's boat stuff. And more Jeep stuff. Recycle stuff. Let's get this stuff in winter storage. So I was thinking, you remember the cars that when they first came out with the pollution, there was a little dash pot that was like spring loaded that you'd hit the throttle, and then when you let the throttle off, it was almost like it was oil filled or air, because it would like slowly let the throttle close to idle. And that, I think, would work for this. Oh look, the rodent repellent, it doesn't work. Put it in here anyway. Gotta do dump run soon, Minnie. Hard throttle is a ton better. Not too bad. A little bit on the rich side. Like my little cheat sheet. If you can see it from that far. Boost is fun. It's actually a little addicting. I can see why people are so into it. But once you do it and you know how it works and all the fundamentals of what you have to do, it makes you want to do more. Can't wait until that gauge is here so I can keep an eye on it in the corner of my eye. The way it's running right now is way better than what it was before. And I'm only using like quarter throttle. I mean, if it stays like this, I'll probably never use full throttle. Like right there is quarter throttle, 6 pounds of boost. That's just normal driving. I'm gonna have to see though. Eventually I'm gonna hit them big hills like going to Jeffro or going over to Poughkeepsie, and I'm gonna have to keep boost. You know, it's gonna have to have a good lug on it to get up those mountains, and then that's gonna heat this up possibly. I guess we'll have to see. Literally quarter throttle, where before, right to the floor, it would not maintain that speed up there. So I don't want to go too big of a circle, Minnie. We'll take the right here, Minnie, and then see how you do lugging the hill up here. It is cool out too, so summertime's probably going to be different. Maintain 40 all the way up through. See, when you let off fast, now that I know what it's supposed to act like all the time, I'll know if the belt is slipping too. It's running cool. I couldn't even get 40 up through here. I'm hardly even touching the throttle. If I give it a little more gas. Oh yeah. Sorry, Tiny Taka. You're gonna be eating Minnie's dust. Super Mini. Temperature still didn't really go up. Probably because I'm a little more rich than I should be. I think when I race Tiny Taka, I'm not even gonna hit much boost. We're just gonna show them how fast you are quarter throttle. Then maybe let them catch up and then ease into the throttle a little bit. Well, that was a perfectly uneventful test drive right there. And it does good lug down too. Perfect, Minnie. Absolutely superb.
The next day.
Doing an oil change on Minnie. Get some nice fresh oil in you, girl. Smell that and see if there's any fuel smell in there. I don't smell anything now, but get a little closer whiff. Last time I used a Toyota filter. This time I crossed it over to a Mobil 1. M1-103 or 103A will work. They look the same. The O-ring is the same. Thread is the same. Figure I better put a real good filter on there. Being supercharged and all. Am I right? The Hijet S83P takes 3 quarts with filter. And it's usually 1040. But I run 15W40. It's probably a better idea with the supercharger and all. I use Rotella. It has a little extra zinc in the oil. Need that for the older engines, boys. It's either that or you can run motorcycle oil. Since the oil filter's mounted this way, I usually like to pre-fill the oil a little bit, just so when you run it you don't get a little dry start, you know, because it has to push that through. Of course, you put a little fresh oil on that O-ring, tighten that oil filter up, 1/2 to 3/4 past contact of the O-ring. Minnie doesn't burn a drop of oil, and we are going to keep it that way. You know the proper way to pour, right? You start like this, and you flip it that way, so you don't get that little blub blub. But you guys knew that, right? I knew you did. The oil's a little dirty, Minnie. Should put that muffler on, eh? Just so you guys get an idea what we're working with here. That's a stock exhaust. Look how little that is. That's the one I'm putting on. It's quite a bit of a difference, eh? I believe it's like 1.25 inches. Oh, less. It's like 1 1/8. And this, 1 5/8 inches. Still decent difference there. You can get it in there, something like that. Might put a 45 downspout maybe. Probably clamp it like that and then end up welding it. I still got enough room to get in there with the welder. Weld my mount. Well, that's my 2 mounts. Just in case it pops off, it'll still hold it. Well, that's all done. Let's see what it sounds like when we disconnect your battery when you're welding, boys. But you know that. Huh. There's something clicking under the dash that's messing it up. What the heck would that be? That's the first time I heard that. A little fat on an idle still. Probably gonna have to weld that, which I figured. Does it sound like a Toyota? I can hear that exhaust leak. What do you think, Minnie? You sound a little meaner, don't you? There's something underneath the dash that clicks. Hear it? It's got to be vacuum controlled, and there's nothing else connected. Well, where the heck would it be? Maybe head over my buddy Brian's house. So cruising. We're just under 12, so I guess that's not bad, right? Boosting just under 11. I will weld that exhaust. Seems like just off of idle it's too rich though. So what do you think, Minnie? Do that 7-mile journey to my buddy Brian's? Feeling good, right? I'm wondering if that... I'm not going to lay into it yet. I'm still nervous. But if that back pressure on that muffler was giving me that extra look-like boost, I have to figure out what the heck is under that dashboard. It definitely sounds like it's retarding the timing or something.
Who's the retard? You. But you don't say that.
Not supposed to say retard. That's cruising. It's like 11 and a half. It's not bad. A little bit on the rich side. Boost baby, give me some air. Give me some torque to remember. Up that hill without even pushing it is like huge compared to what this used to do. It's huge. I'm not going to get much more top end out of this because, as you know, 6,000 RPM is like 63 miles an hour, so I'm not going to push it. I can't remember what the red line is, but I think it was like 6,500. roughly. Somebody said, get that lawnmower belt off of there. It won't take the RPMs. I beg to differ. You ever see them lawnmower blades spinning? I'm glad the exhaust isn't that much louder. I put a 45 downpipe on that. I think will be perfect. Laugh all you want. I'm putting maybe 70 horsepower out now. A big whopping 70. But on a 1,500 pound vehicle, that's quite a bit. Mini is running good. Like real good. Better than when the carburetor was directly hooked up. Had that little tiny dead spot. Oh yeah, I did order a whole bunch of little micro drills, so I could probably tune that primary in. You know, put a little solder on the end of it and drill little holes in the solder. We'll get her tuned perfectly. That'll do away with that hard throttle richness. Nope, still got it. Don't sound like a jet engine now though, which is good. Ah, no pop.
Later.
Now my buddy Brian said that could be idle control working off of a vacuum somewhere still. Makes sense. Well, maybe I should switch that pin somewhere else. What do you think? Go right up 22? I really hate to push it that fast. There's another cord on that plug that goes to that solenoid, and if that is idle control, that other plug should be live all the time maybe? I can't remember what that did. Come on guys, someone's got to know what that box is in there. It's funny because it only did it when it was cold. When it's cold it does it. Such high RPMs at this speed though, you know. One more gear would be great. No problem at all. So far, here's a pretty good hill. I'm not pushing it. That's like quarter throttle. Temperature's good. Fuel ratio's good. Boost is good. Yeah, see, I'd go faster, but I don't want to rev the hell out of it. Doing good, Mini. While before I do full throttle on you. Asshole. That was floored. Holy shit. Well, at least don't sound like a jet engine now. And it didn't push up to 9 pounds. I just floored it quick. That was a pretty good pull for fourth gear, man. Wow. That was half throttle. That was about half throttle. I flipped it to 3/4. Still testing, boys, still testing. Temperature's staying good. Maybe even better than when it was carbureted, because probably it was so lean. I'm coming for you, Jeffro. And Tiny Tonka. I'm coming for you.
Hey, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Hit that bell if you want new notifications on new videos. Links for products used are in the description and on MotoCheez.com. Thanks for watching.